The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back into The Local Show, so that means you are too. We're broadcasting from the Zoe Advertising Studios, and they're sponsored by Victory in Motion, the home of knee repair, not knee replacement. And you can see us on YouTube if you really want a treat and see what Steve looks like. I'm glad that you are branded with your Zoe material on.
No,
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's sarcasm right there. You're wearing a Hawaiian shirt that you stole from somebody.
My wife took me shopping. She's like, I'm sick of all this Zoe clothes and stuff. Can you wear something that isn't? No, that's true. And she sounded just like that. And I don't have to worry about it because she doesn't listen to the show. So I can say whatever I want.
Okay.
And she's not wrong. So we went shopping. She's got good taste. And I probably have not quite as good taste. So I got some new clothes, Tom.
Yeah, you look like Don Ho. Very nice. Check him out on YouTube. You'll like that. Maggie Hartnet has dared to come back on the show. She's been on a few times. She's the public relations coordinator at McClurg Remodeling. How are you, Maggie?
I'm doing good and a lot less nervous this time.
Very good.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, well, the last time we talked with you, you were doing it live with us at the home show.
In front of everybody.
And you
were
did
walking
fine.
by and they were like, is that Maggie Hartnet?
That's not what they were saying.
She raises the bar of the show. She's a very attractive young mom.
It.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of faith in me. And speaking of being a mom, I did tell my kids I was going back on the radio today.
There we go.
And my 8-year-old said, give me a shout out. So Mac McSweeney.
Right. There we go.
Here's your shout out, kiddo.
There you go.
2 or 3 weeks ago, we had your sister, the dog walker, around here.
Yeah, you're having all the Hartnets.
Yes. We've had your dad. It's a Hartnet thing.
I love it.
And you're a Syracuse native, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
Strathmore neighborhood. Yeah.
Yes.
Wellesley Road.
It was funny, a bunch of my friends from high school
Your friends?
Yes, 3 of them. They were back in town, and they said, hey, we're going over to Swallows to
nice. Yes.
and watch the Stanley Cup playoffs and all that.
Did you go?
No.
You can't watch hockey, can you? Can you sit and watch hockey?
I don't mind hockey. I love watching the Crunch, I gotta be honest with you. I really do.
Well, shout out to Swallows.
Yes, the Swallows. They're wonderful.
They're a neighborhood establishment.
Absolutely.
Big fan.
So, and what high school did you go to?
I went to Christian Brothers Academy.
Okay, you were a CBA girl.
Yep. And then I went to St. John Fisher. I met my husband. He was from Marcellus. So we had our kiddos in Rochester. And then when we had our third, Mac, one more shout out.
There we go.
Okay.
Double
Absolutely.
shout out.
Very nice.
We were outnumbered and we wanted to come home. So
Right.
we started looking, and my family had kind of moved out of Strathmore at the time, but his family was still in Marcellus. So we moved there, and it's been wonderful.
So that's cool.
That's
You guys
awesome.
went away to school. You were
Yep.
from the same zip code, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
And you came back.
Yeah.
Here. That's
Yeah.
great.
And what's he do for a living?
He's at Cornell, so he works in employer relations. It's his birthday today. Another
Okay,
shout out.
great.
Happy birthday,
There we
Dan
go.
Sweeney.
So he's the guy that says you can't say that.
Yeah, he is the one that is. He works with these big companies that are interested in working with kids coming out of Cornell.
Oh, okay.
So he kind of helps get our kids ready for interviewing and getting their stuff together.
Interesting.
He says all the time, before you get to your senior year, check in with employer relations, check in, see what you need to be doing, build your network.
I have a family friend who's a junior at Cornell.
Tell him.
Okay, so we'll talk about that after.
see Dan
And he's
McSweeney.
amazing.
Yeah. Go see
So,
Dan McSweeney.
as far as McClurg is concerned,
Yes.
I always think of them as the creme de la creme of builders and remodelers. So, exactly why do I think that?
Because they are.
Okay.
I can say a lot about McClurg. They really are. They're caring. They're kind. They're very intentional. I do this thing called Coffee with Clients. I get to go and interview clients that we've worked with and
Very nice.
kind of get the story, what worked well, why'd you choose McClurg, anything we can be doing to do better. And one thing that I have heard across the board from all of these clients is top-notch communication. We hold your hand from start to finish. If there's ever an issue, it's solved in under an hour, sometimes even less, but you know when we're coming, you know who's coming, you know who's working in your home, and you're just involved with the entire process, start to finish.
Maggie Hartnet, are you suggesting
Yes.
that some contractors and some contracting people have a reputation that maybe they don't get back to you quickly, and maybe they leave you hanging like Tom's Kitchen that isn't finished from
Don't even get me
1979?
going. Don't even get me
Well,
going.
I can only speak about what we do,
Okay.
and we don't.
Oh, that's
do
very
that.
high clay. Very
Well,
good job.
We work with the best. We've got the best carpenters. We've got the best project consultants. They're just great people. I just did an interview where somebody asked, what would you tell people looking for their ideal job? And I said, if you want to love what you do, work for people who love their family.
That's great advice.
They
Yeah.
call their mom. I've walked in and my boss's dad is walking out of his office. He's just checking on him. Or Scott McClurg has had to leave a meeting because his grandson is FaceTiming him.
Yeah.
Things like that. When you work for people like that, you want to do a
That's
really good
fabulous.
job.
So tell me about this little tiny house thing. you're
Tiny
putting-
Home for Good. Yes, I have. Thank you so much. We have partnered with the Tiny Home for Good. This is a project that's been around for a while. It's an organization in Syracuse, New York, that they are doing their best, doing more than most to solve the unhoused problem in the city of Syracuse. It's Andrew Lunetta and Dominic Trickus. I remember his name because it's tricky. Trickus.
Yes,
There we go.
And Katie Weaver as well. And they've got a whole team of people. And what they do is they are purchasing land and they are building tiny homes, and they're housing first.
Like where?
In the city of Syracuse.
Right in the city,
Right
okay.
in the city. They have a location as well. They're called the Tiny Home for Good. They've got lots of events coming up where you can donate. But where we have partnered with them is one of our owners, Jamie Sprague, is now on the board. And he helps kind of oversee some of the design and architectural aspects. So he's just been kind of a soundboard and gives suggestions where he can. And then we have committed as a company now all of our contracts. If you are to work with us, if we're redoing a bathroom or remodeling a basement or anything like that, any materials that are existing or that could be ordered, you have the option to donate. So we just donated, from one project, we donated one kitchen, all of their cabinets. They were thrilled that the cabinets were going to be recycled. So we were very careful removing everything. We had to maybe sand a couple areas, but we want to only donate the best of the best. We transferred it over there, and that kitchen went into 3 different tiny homes.
Oh my gosh.
And where are they being built?
They're being built. If you look on their website, basically their process is they purchase from homes that have been turned over to the land bank.
Okay.
So
Sure.
any of those spaces, they've got a couple up in the air right now that they are trying to acquire. But you said Swallows. If you keep going you pass Swallows, you go all the way down that road.
Yeah.
You will see a Tiny Home for Good. It's a brick building. It's black painted with some really pretty graffiti, and then right next to it is a house that they are rehabbing for families who have to leave their home for lead reasons.
Right,
so
right,
while
right.
that's being done, but all around that area, and there's a couple other areas, they're sprinkled all over around the city.
So Maggie Hartnet,
Yes.
McClurgteam.com. You
Yes.
guys are a great option if folks need remodeling or they're going to addition or even maybe build a house, who knows, or handyman services.
Yes.
And you are engaged in the community. We appreciate you coming today.
Thank you for having me.